I just think we got caught up in the moment, that's all.
What, you want to be with him?
Ma?
I need to talk to your brother.
What if I say no?
And it all goes away.
You don't know Emmett. He gets real possessive when it comes to me.
Oh, yeah. What's going on, fam? It's your man, VACAY-JAYTV, and yes, I'm back with another video. This is for the Shy Season 5, Episode 2 recap. And yes, this definitely was a solid episode. A lot of fill-ins, a lot of information that we didn't know before has been revealed in this episode right here. So you already know we're going to break this down. Absolutely. Before we do that, make sure you check out all my episode recaps and check out the Papa vs. Jake video as well. So let's break down Episode 2 recap of The Shy Season 5. So the name of Episode 2 is Old Girl, and it reads, Emmett's co-parenting struggles lead him to some questionable advice. Jake reconnects with someone from his past. Keisha's college plans go awry. Tiff's relationship with Rob heats up. Kevin sets his sights on a new love interest while navigating his gaming club. Papa struggles with being canceled. Jada reveals a secret to Suede, and Trig considers a new role in the community. So where we left off, we see Q and we see Duda, and they are in Tracy's house, and she's like, why are you guys here? What's going on? And Q is like, yeah, I looked around, I had D drive me around, and the streets don't look like what they used to be. You're supposed to, basically persuade and jack up the cops and not get rid of them, So she's like, listen, we started this community activist plan, and this is what's working right now. And, Q basically is on some you need to sit down. The OGs need to come back and take over the streets. And Duda's really trying to be, kind of the mediator here and kind of, just bring everybody together. But, he's trying to talk to Tracy like that's his daughter. But she's just like, listen, it's because of the cops. My son is dead. That's why we started this organization. And we come to find out that, yeah, Duda has been financing the community activist plan, the community group. But really, the private investor was Q. And Q's like, who's your daddy now, right? So now we shoot over and we see Emmett with his boys, taking care of his kids, right? Spending the weekends with them and everything. He's asking what they want. And the little one is like, yeah, he's acting up a little bit. He's like, hey, stop doing that. And he's like, yeah, I'm your father. He's like, yeah, only on the weekends. And Emmett's like, what? What'd you say? He's like, nothing, daddy. So they go into it. So he's realizing that this is harder than what it seems to be, a dad, full-time dad. So he's reading them a bedtime story, basically saying how they live happily ever after. And he's letting them know, listen, it doesn't always end up like that. What you usually plan sometimes doesn't come to be what it is. And he's kind of, upset about the whole thing that's going on between him and Tiff. So now we see Tracy. And Tracy is still talking to Q and them. And yeah, they're talking about, basically taking the streets back and basically, being on some yeah, we're coming back to take over. Tracy doesn't like the idea and the way, Q is approaching it and everything. And yeah, basically Q is talking down to her. But yes, he is the finance guy. He's the one that's been funding the community. And he's like, yeah, who's your daddy now, right? So, Duda has to deal with him, and she's looking at Duda like all this time, he's been the one bankrolling you. It's crazy. So now we see your boy D. Ray Davis, and he is the master Mashawn, right? And he's like, what's going on, Kings? Talking to the fellas. It's like, yeah, y'all need to take over. And yeah, and your boy Emmett is feeding right into it. And it looks like Marshawn is talking about relationships and, being a man in a relationship and stepping up and, it's all good, be a king, right? So meanwhile, Tiff comes through and he's surprised. He's like, yo, what you doing here so early? Why are you here so early? And she's like, oh, it's like that. It's like, yeah, I've been dealing with these kids all this time, all weekend. And she's like, oh, you need help? He's like, yeah, I need help. Come over here, brush some hair, brush some teeth or whatever, help out. I wish my wife was home. She's like, well, that's what you get for, messing around with all of this and doing that nasty and all this and that. So he's on some like, yo, listen, Joe, you staying at your mom's? She's like, nah, I had to leave. He's like, oh, well, you coming back? She's like, nah, I'm not coming back. I'm staying with a friend. And he's like, listen, I don't want no random dudes around my son. And she's like, he's not a random dude. He's actually the supplier to me and Dom's business. He owns the business. So, of course, Emmett ain't trying to hear all that, right? So he's just washing dishes or whatever. And she's like, you hear me? You got to pick up our son at 4. He's like, all right, I hear you. He's not happy about it. So Jake is talking about how Gemma says she's good. The girls are like, yeah, dudes ain't jack. And your boy Papa, again, is talking junk and going back and forth with Lene on some like, yeah, if I said, girls ain't nothing, then I would get canceled or whatever. So turn around, they got a viral video going around Papa talking about, yeah, at least I got a daddy. And it's kind of funny. But yeah, Papa's basically canceled with all his friends and all his people in the school because of what he said. So he's like, listen, I'm apologize. What do I do to get rid of this? I'm going to apologize. So he puts up a post talking about all the greats get dragged. And Jake is like, that's your apology? He's like, yo, it's not my fault. The black family's under attack. And then he trips and falls on himself, right? Right after he said that. And Maya, she's like, see, that's what you get. God don't like ugly, right? So now we got Kevin. They going through security, kind of find out Kevin and Lene have some, have the PlayStation and some controllers. Like, listen, you can't bring that in here, man. You're in trouble. Y'all in trouble. Go to the principal's office. He's like, are you serious? For real? Just for like a gaming system? Like, she's like, listen, this is Chicago. You know what it is. Go to the office, right? And I'm noticing members only still makes jackets, makes coats. Okay, that's different. All right, back to the subject at hand. We got your boy Trig and Trig. They're at the community center, and Tracy and Shad is trying to cheer him up and everything, right? So to cheer Trig up, Tracy and Shad tell him that the people want him to run for councilman, and yeah, it looks like he's gonna do it. So now we see Jake in school, and he's texting Gemma like, yo, we need to talk. What's going on? Like, and he's like, yo, what do you mean we need to talk? Like, what's happening? Because, they kind of like had an argument last time. So now Jake gets called to the principal's office, and it's like, ooh, Jake, trying to go to the principal's office. I remember back in school, you get called to the office, man. It was a big deal, right? Ooh, you in trouble now. So he goes to the office. Meanwhile, we got your girl Tiff and Rob, and they talking about, how's Emmett taking this. And, Rob was on some understanding, like, yo, I would take it the same way. I understand how he feels. And he's like, listen, if we're going to do this, let's do this. I'm not down for the open stuff. You know what I'm saying? If we're going to be together, it's just going to be me and you. It's not going to be me, you, and whoever else. So he's showing her that he's serious about being with her. Now she just has to kind of like, get it together to the point where she wants the same thing. So now Jake goes to the office and he sees everybody in there. And then who shows up? Yeah, Mama Peaches. That's Jake's mom shows up. And he's like, what are you doing here? She's like, hey, I came to get you. I told the school that I'm coming to get you, take you out of school so we could talk because we got a lot to talk about. Meanwhile, Kevin and Lene, they're waiting to speak to the principal and everything. And so, he's really like, did you talk to Trig? And she's like, I'm your mama. And her name is on the list as far as, a parent or a person to pick him up. And, he really doesn't look like he's feeling it, but she is looking better. She looked like she went to rehab, and that's exactly what she did. But the receptionist's like, yeah, she's on the list, so she's here now to pick you up so you can go with her, right? He doesn't really feel what's going on. And she's just like, come on, let's go. So she's ready to go. She's taking him out of school. Meanwhile, Kev and Lene are still waiting there to go see the principal, right? Jake is not really feeling what's going on. Now we have the principal Reeves, and she's sitting there looking at them very disappointed. She's like, all right, who gave you permission to do this? And Linnea is like, listen, I'm not ratting on nobody, right? I'm not ratting on anybody. They brought the PlayStation in there. And then the guy, looks like he's an advisor or a teacher. He comes in there and says, listen, I can explain. And basically saying how, they had a good idea to create a gaming club. A lot of white kids, they're getting paid off of, playing games. And Kevin had an idea to, create a gaming club that'll bring, more students together. And it's like, listen, are you going to be the advisor to this? He's like, yeah, if they bring in at least 5 kids, he'll be their advisor and be there to help them out. Meanwhile, back at the center, young lady comes in and Shad sees this young lady and he is really impressed by her. Like, man, she's thick, she's nice, she looks real good. And your boy Trigger's like, yo, I thought this was about finding me a girl. He's like, nah, this one's mine, my guy. This one's mine. So your boy Shad goes over, introduces himself, and he starts singing some Luther Vandross to this girl. And she's smiling. Jason Weaver, he got the pipes. He's singing a little something or whatever. Everybody in the center is clapping like, yeah, He's like, oh, yeah, y'all was listening to me, So everybody clapping. Shad got a little windpipes or whatever. So she likes what she heard, and Shad is doing his thing, trying to impress her. So he's letting her know, hey, listen, I'm here. And, they're talking about the Luther Vandross song when it came out. And he's basically saying how, yeah, when it came out, it basically got him through. Listening to that song got him through how he was locked up. And immediately her face changes like, oh, you was locked up. So she ain't really feeling that. But, Shad is on some like, yo, listen, hold on. Before you leave, what's your name? Kisses her hand. Says, hey, you didn't throw your name at me. She's like, I didn't throw it at you, right? And then he's like, nah, wait, I just want to take you out, make you smile. So she eventually gives him the digits, writes it down on a piece of paper. He's like, yeah, I'm going to cherish this number for the rest of my life, So Shad is really trying to schmooze her over and take out the dinner or cook for her, whatever. So we'll see what happens with that. Now we got the ladies, boy, and yeah, Jada is ready to spill the tea, and she tells all the ladies, hey, she went ahead and kissed Darnell. And of course, Tracy's like, oh, shoot, that's crazy. Like, aren't you with Sway? Like, what's happening? What's wrong? And she's smiling like, yeah, what just happened? I don't know what just happened. And of course, Dre is like, man, yeah, I was a mess in high school, yeah, I mess right now. And she goes on to say she's sorry if she's triggering Dre. Remember, Nina cheated on Dre. So that's why it's a trigger. But of course, they don't want to expose that and talk about that in front of Tracy. So, Nina's on some like, well, maybe you're just in a stable relationship and you got bored and you wanted something to spice up whatever it is in your life. So they sipping on their tea like, oh, shoot, what is Nina trying to say? So Tracy's like, well, maybe, she needs a little bit something more to what it is. And maybe, hey, maybe Darnell is the one. And Dre's like, nah, he's not the one. He's not the one. It took him a while to bond with Emmett and everything. And then Dre's on some like, yo, who's going to be the green master like Swade? Swade's the one, right? Because Swade is taking care of the plants. And of course, Dre likes the plants, right? So Tracy's like, well, maybe she needs something more, more than just watering plants. And Jada's on some like, well, he does watering very, very well, right? So Swade is definitely handling his business. So like, what are you complaining about, right? So of course, Dre's on some like, you know what? It's Swade, it's not Darnell. And she's like, yeah, I need some sage and holy water. She starts spraying like water on him and everything else like that. So they all laugh about it or whatever. But we know Dre is not really feeling, Darnell coming back. So now we got the girls, Tiff and your girl Keisha. And she's like, yeah, I'm glad you did this. I'm glad you decided to come to the school. She's like, yeah, I'm going to be going to school for both of us. Tiff never got a chance to go to college. She's like, all right, well, just have fun, do your thing, mess around with a couple of college boys for me, right? So, they really on some bonding stuff, and they really getting real close. I wonder what's going to happen when we finally see Keisha kind of get back with Emmett. We're going to see what happens and how that relationship goes. So now we're looking at Jake and Peaches is like, yeah, I used to eat here when it was Sonny's, when you were like in my womb, when you was a kid. And they're really trying to connect. And he's like, so what do we do now? You went to rehab, you got better. What do we do now? She's like, well, I need to talk to Trig. Meanwhile, back at school, Kevin's back in class, and they're talking about NFTs, non-fungible tokens, and they're talking about a contest, and basically whoever wins, they're going to win some NFTs. And for those that don't know, those are like digital assets. So Papa knows about it. And basically, someone sold an NFT, and that someone was this young lady right here. Introducing Simone Chase. And she did her first NFT sale. And Kev is looking at her like he knows her, like, yeah, she's familiar. Gonna find out if we go way back in the seasons. Yeah, Kev and Simone had a little dance back in the day at one of the parties that they were at, right? So he's reminiscing and saying, oh, that's Shorty from back in the day. So class is over. He rolls over to her and says, hey, congratulations. And she's like, yeah, do you like stars? Do you like the moon and the stars? He's like, yeah, I guess. He's like, okay, you want to look at the stars with me and everything else like that. And he's like, yeah, okay, cool, right? Real different type of conversation. She's like, okay, yeah, I'll text you later. And just know I only text in emojis. And he's like, what? He's like, what the heck is that about? So anyway, back at the center, we see Trig again. They're working on some things. And yeah, Shada's there. And he's really thinking about running for, councilman. Turn around, we got Peaches and Jake, and they show up. And they show up, and Shada's like, hey, Peaches, what's going on? How you doing? You good? She's like, oh, you was in rehab? She's like, mind your business. And she's like, why you ain't giving me the same love, Trig? He's like, oh, I'm just surprised that you're here. He's like, what are you doing here? He's like, well, he's like, how long you going to be here? She's like, that's up to you, right? That's up to you. So he's like, yo, Jake, go help out Shad with the coats. And he's like, why? And Shad is like, because he says so. They need to talk, Jake. They need to talk. So they go mess around with the coats. He's like, listen, you just can't show up like this. Like, seriously. She's like, well, I ain't have your number. And he's like, well, that was on purpose. Like, remember, she sold Jake in order to get money for the house. And when Trig came back, Trig went and got Jake back. So it was a whole big mess, right? So we see what happens with that. So now back at the Smokies, guys making an order. And yeah, Emmett forgot to pick up the baby boy. So he runs out of there and he goes to the school to pick him up. And the lady's like, are you EJ's dad? He's like, yeah. He's like, well, he already got picked up. He's like, by who? Got picked up by this guy, Robert. And he's like, oh, man, right? So, yeah, Rob picked up little EJ. And, of course, Emmett is kind of pissed off about it. He goes to Rob's house. Rob opens up the door. He's looking all mad. You know how Emmett is, right? He's like, where's my son? Where's my son, right? And it's like, dude, like, Rob is trying to help out and trying to be cool about the whole situation. Like, he ain't have to do that. So Emmett gets the boy, the baby boy. And he's like, where's Tiff at? Tiff? He's like, yo, man, she's not here, man. It's all good. He's like, listen, man, I'm just being a team player, man. He's just trying to be cool about the whole situation. And Emmett, he's like, man, I don't even know you, man. Like, we ain't on the same team. Like, get out of here. I don't even know you, B. So you know how Emmett is, man. Emmett don't like the whole situation. And I could understand why he feels that way. So he calls up Tiff like, yo, man, don't be putting no random dudes on the list to pick up, the baby. And she's like, I knew you wasn't going to be on time. And Rob was just helping out. I can't deal with this right now. So she hangs up on him. And Keisha's like, yo, be easy on him. She's like, forget him. So they ready to party. They ready to get it in. And so they go on to town. They go to a party and they go and have fun, right? So, they letting off some steam. They dropping it like it's hot. And the girls are definitely out there doing their thing. They're both under a lot of pressure, both being moms. And it's time for them to have fun. So Jada finally tells Suede that she kissed Darnell. And he's like, yo, do you love him? Do you want to be with him? And she's like, I don't know. Suede gets on his knees like, baby, I love you, She's like, I love you too. And he's like, are you going to fight for us? And she's like, yes, right? So, she's definitely confused as to what's going on. So, Jada, you got to get it together. Meanwhile, Gemma and Jake, they finally get a chance to talk. And, Gemma's definitely looking different. She straightened out her hair and everything. And he's like, I'm sorry, I effed up. And she's like, you want to elaborate? He's like, yeah, I effed up. I was mad about one thing, being trash and playing basketball. And I took it out on you. And she basically like, yo, we all care about you. We understand. I understand. She's a very understanding young lady. Like, she's super cool, understanding. Then your boy starts, reciting some Method Man and Mary joint, And she's liking what she's hearing, and they kiss and make up, and it's all good. It's all good. And then Shy comes in there like, yo, can y'all stop kissing? We trying to eat. Like, come on, y'all. Like, for real. So Peaches finally meets Gemma, and she's like, nice to meet you and everything. And they about to have a family dinner, which is kind of cool, having, Peaches back and everything. Hopefully she doesn't relapse. Shy does his prayer, and it's a quick prayer because he's hungry. It's like, it's time for us to eat, right? Meanwhile, on the other side of town, we got Duda, and he is doing an interview. And this interviewer, she's going in. She's like, listen, you was the mayor, and all of a sudden you disappeared. Like, what happened? Where did you go? And he's like, yeah, I needed a mental break. And she was like, okay, where'd you go? Like, she's really getting in on him. He's like, well, I had to go see an old friend, and I got therapy, right? He's like, oh, okay. Yeah, he's like, being the mayor was a great privilege and everything else like that. Really talking political. So now back at Tracy's house, he's like, yeah, you saw the interview? She's like, yeah. He's like, what you think? She's like, yeah, I think you're full of right? Full of crap. And he's like, well, I had to do what I had to do, But he's like, what do you need? He's like, hey, I want you to clear Triggs' record because he wants to run for councilman. He's like, really? You want someone to run for councilman? So she's trying to, smooth him over, make him feel good. But, they have that attraction for each other. They definitely are connected. But she's telling him that, yeah, she needs his help. And he's like, well, we got to get him prepared. We got to get him to do this. And she's like, well, he doesn't trust you. And he's like, well, we don't got no time for that. Like, we got to make this happen. You got to do it. I want him to do it, no back talk. She's like, all right, I'm going to talk to him. And she says, as of right now, I'm the boss. So you know what they about to do. She's like, yeah, come on, take off clothes. Let's go. So your boy Duda, he's been waiting for that. So now they about to get it popping. So now we see Trig, and he is with Marcus. And you remember Duda beat down Marcus, and that was in Marcus's house. They had the tape. So Marcus is like, yo, let's hold on to the tape. If he acts up, then we can use it for whatever to take him down again. So he's like, yeah, I'm going to run for councilman. And he's like, yeah, I'm thinking about it. And he's like, yeah, Tracy says she's going to make some calls to clear my record because I'm a felon. So they don't know how she's going to do it. He has no idea that she is talking to Duda in order to make it happen. So, they're all down for him running for councilman. Meanwhile, back at Rob's house, we got Tiff, and Tiff is making them drinks. And he's like, all right, so what's going on? Like, I'm serious about us being together. Like, we got to let Emmett know that we're together in order for him not to really act as, crazy as he will act. So she's like, listen, I want to be with you, but I just don't want to, stop my freedom. He's like, listen, I'm not going to force you to be with me. You know what I mean? Basically, it's up to you. Like, I want to be with you. We doing more than just living here together. And he's like, I'm not going to force monogamy on you. You got to want it for yourself. And she has a decision to make. He's being serious about taking care of her, allowing her to be at the crib. But he's like, yo, it's totally up to you, which is a stand-up thing to do. You don't force it. You don't force a situation, even though she's sleeping, at his house. So he's like, yo, baby girl, it's up to you. You got to decide what you want to do. So Tiff got to decide. Is she going to get serious, or is she going to be in the streets running around, right? Now, at the bowling alley, we got your boy Suede and Emmett, and they're bonding. And, come to find out, Suede got his own bowling ball, got the glove, got everything. He's like, yo, I'm serious about this. Suede is a very committed type of dude. But Suede really is questioning whether he's making, Emmett's mom, Jada, happy. And Emmett's like, yo, I've never seen her as happy as she is right now. So it definitely makes Suede smile about things. But at the same time, Emmett's like, yo, I got to keep it 100. The minute that she's not happy with you and she, don't want to be with you no more, I got to support that too. So, he's asking how he's dealing with, the whole Tiff situation, letting him know, hey, I believe in you. You're just going to be all right. And Emmett's like, yo, I see why my mom likes you. You're a very supportive dude, right? So now Jada's at home. She's drinking some wine. And who does she get a call from? Of course, your boy Darnell, man. He FaceTimes her. He's like, hey, what's going on? You tell that boy about us yet? And she's like, there is no us. We just had a kiss or whatever. He's like, yo, when you going to stop playing around? Like, we need to make this happen. And he's trying to plead his case. He's like, yeah, we got a lot of history together. He's like, yeah, we have a history where, you put my hopes up and then you let me down. He's like, yeah, I understand. I may have lost the battle, but, I'm going to win the war. So he's like, all right, bye, Darnell, bye. He's like, wait, let me see, let me see what you're wearing. You know what I'm saying? So Stu Darnell, they acting like they're in high school, but she is actually trying to do her best to fight off the feelings that she still has for Darnell, even though she's with Sway. So now we see your boy Trig finding out that Duda is the one that cleared his record so he can run for councilman. And Trig is like, yo, if I knew it was him, man, I would have said, don't do it. But he's like, listen, man, like Trig. And he's like, no, my name is Victor now. He's like, okay, great. That you're making steps towards becoming a better person. And they're like trying to convince him to absolutely listen to Duda so he can run. So here comes Tiara. And who is Tiara? Tiara's going to play the play girlfriend to Trig to make it look good as far as politics, as far as him running. And she's on some like, yeah, we just got to play the role. It's just a role. People do this all the time. And, I'll get some endorsement deals and everything else like that. But it's not about that. It's about you getting in office. And Trig is like, what if I don't want to do it? And she's, Tracy's like, well, everything goes away. Everything goes away if you don't do this. Like, literally everything. So Tiara's like, listen, we're just going to play the role. We're going to make it look good. And, yeah, you're going to run for office and we're going to win. And, yeah, dude is trying to, being a quarterback here. But she is really like on some like, yo, we can do this. We can make this happen. And Tracy's just like, yo, seriously, we got to make it happen or, everything goes down. Meaning that if he doesn't run and doesn't follow what Duda is saying, the finances for, the community center that he's working at and everything goes away. It gets shut down because Duda is the one financing everything. And they're just finding that out. Him and Q are financing everything. So, of course, Trig is not really feeling it. He's like, man, I don't want to do nothing fake. Turn around, Duda pulls out the NDAs to sign, saying that, basically they're going to keep it all a secret and nobody can tell anything. And Trig, he ain't feeling none of this. He's just like, yo, man, I don't even like it. I don't like what's going on. So he leaves. Tracy tries to go after him, but Duda's like, hold on. Nah, chill. We good. He's definitely going to do it because his back is against the wall. If he doesn't do it, then everybody at that center, they lose everything, right? So now we got Nina and Dre, and they getting all dressed up, looking like they're going to go out, but no, they're actually going to sit down on the couch, pull up the computer, and they're going to talk to their counselor, right? So they have a marriage counselor, a couples counselor, right? And Dre is, she's a therapist as well. So I guess this is good. It looks like things are going well, but we shall see based on that conversation earlier. So now we see some biscuits and we see your boy Shad. He definitely made a real nice spread for this young lady right here. Her name is Deja. And yeah, Shad is going all out, got the candles and everything, got the Moscato and everything. And like, yeah, he's really going all out to show Deja that he really is feeling her, right? This is what we do. We definitely lay it on down and she's absolutely happy. She's like, this is perfect. And they're chopping it up. And she's like, have you ever been to a wine tasting? He doesn't know what a wine tasting is. And she's like, listen, I want to take you. It's like, all right, cool. And, they lock eyes. But he's like, yo, let's eat this food. And you're going to drink this Moscato. I don't got the fancy stuff. It's $8.99, right? So it's all good. Meanwhile, your boy Papa's looking at the comments. And they are going in on Papa. Maisha shows up. And she shows up and she supports him. She's supporting him because he's about to apologize. And because she told him, you need to really apologize and do this. So now it's time to do it. So he gets up and he starts recording and he apologizes to everybody for his comments. He was just speaking his mind and he's like, yeah, we shouldn't be canceled because we're speaking our mind. And then he apologizes to Jake, and he says, yeah, you know, you're good at many things. You know, even though you may not be good at basketball, you're good at taking people's girls. And Mike's just like, come on, man. Like, stop. For real. So he's like, yeah, I apologize. Listen, you know, I apologize, Jake. You know, you're the brother I never had. And he basically apologized to everybody asking for forgiveness. Good job, Papa. We'll see how it goes. Now, Emmett is back at the house all alone, right? The kids are back with their mamas, and he's back at the house by himself. And he pulls up a video of the brother Master Marshawn, and he's like, listen, brothers, you got to lock it down. You got to close your legs. You got to, you know, keep your stuff inside your pants, and you deserve it. So we're going to go on a 30-day celibacy fast and everything else like that. And we're going to empower ourselves and all of that. And Emmett's like, what? Is this serious, right? So Brother Marshawn is like challenging the brothers to jump on this celibacy. And he's like, yo, I'm with it. So what? Emmett is really going to go and hold it down. He's not going to mess around with any more girls. We shall see what happens, Emmett, in the next episodes in this season 5 of The Chi Family. Do me a favor, drop your comments below. Let me know what you think, your thoughts, your theories, and everything. I appreciate you all for watching. Family, this was a solid episode as it leads up to everything else. All right, family, I appreciate you all for watching. Listen, if you're new to the channel, definitely go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Do me a favor and smash that like button for me. And absolutely, I appreciate you all for watching. Thank you for your love and all your support. And if you thought this video was crazy, definitely check out this next one right here. Appreciate you. Salute.